This is the conversation with Atul Khatri. He is a comedian consistently rated as one of the top stand-up comics in India. In this conversation, we discuss the purpose of comedy, why he decided to move into it in his mid-40s. We talk about the basics of stand-up. How do you construct a good joke? What is the structure of a joke? We talk about delivery, performing on stage, the role of an audience. We talk about writing techniques, different approaches that can work. We also explore what it takes to construct a 1 hour special and the economics of a comedy show. This is no time. If you like what you see, then do hit subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, rate 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. This project takes a lot of my time, money, and effort. It's my full-time job now. So if you'd like to see it continue, please consider making a donation on Patreon or Anchor. You can join as a member on YouTube. You can buy super thanks on YouTube, or you can leave gifts on Instagram Reels. If not through monetary channels, do consider sharing these episodes, leaving your likes and comments. All forms of engagement, they really go a long way. For other forms of love and support, you can follow this channel on Instagram or Twitter, or follow me personally. And now, it's no time.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Chris Rock had once said, comedy has to walk a thin line between being offensive and being honest. I want to start by picking your brains on the purpose of comedy. What purpose should it serve? Should it send a message? Should it punch up? Should it be on the border of being offensive? Should it always tell the truth? Or do you think all of that is putting too much burden on comedy and only needs to make people laugh?
So I think the main idea is to make people laugh. When people come to watch you, their intention is to come to make you laugh. But what happens with every comedian, as they get more matured, they would love to talk about topics which are relevant, social topics, give a point, give a message. So if you see a comedian when he's doing his first open mic, typically, most comedians, they have this simple trope. They talk about the name or the physical aspect,
Kahan se ho?
I am from this village, from mere village mein. They talk about their family, they talk about maybe some physical aspect. Somebody is very tall, somebody is very fat, somebody is very dark, somebody is very fair. So they talk about them, or they talk about some funny things about their name, how they don't like the name and things like that. Every time you go to first time a comedian is going on stage ever, typically they do all that.
Ye pattern hai.
More or less ऐसा ही होता है. If you go and see an open mic, open mic में usually is a room where people come and try their comedy for the first time. You typically see that trend. But what happens as time passes by, and this happens to all of us comedians. Like if I go and watch a video of mine, which I had done like 10 years back, I said, oh my God, I used to say such rubbish back then. So as a voice, as you grow up, as you mature, you are watching more comedy. What happens is that you get your comedic voice. And in that, then it may happen that you may want to talk about some social topics. You want to talk about a point, something which is happening around, something which you don't like. Then over there, you don't care whether if it's anti-political, if it is anti a particular political party, if you're taking a very strong stand on anything, it could be happening. It's something which is really bothering you. So what then it comes up, So I think it all depends at what stage the comedian is. But I think finally at the end of it, comedy is obviously making people laugh, but also there is a purpose to it. There is something which you want to say, something which you want to put a point over there. And I would say that something which you're very passionate about. You're very strong, opinionated about. It may happen that that country may not allow you to say that, or there are restrictions on that, but then it makes your writing more stronger.
Constraint helps?
Constraint sometimes helps a lot. You want to challenge now. Say, oh, you give me something. Let me say, how do I convey the same point without really, वो जो है ना पुरानी हिंदी में कहावत है that सांप भी ना मरे लाठी भी ना टूटे. सांप भी मरे लेकिन लाठी ना टूटे. Something like that. Exactly like that. I use example a lot that you should convey the point but your writing has to be very strong. Where you say something and people say, oh my God, he's talking about that. It's a layered joke basically. So yeah, I think finally at the end of it, and I have seen that happening. I've seen that happening with me. Initially, just like how I told you, when I started doing comedy, I used to talk about very simple stuff about my family, about me, about this. But now as you go, you want to talk about stuff which is really bothering you, you feel is bothering the country, could be about environment, could be as issues as like stray dog issue which is happening now in Delhi and things like that. So if you're very strong, because see, fortunately we have a platform, we have a mic, we have an audience, and we are at an elevated position. We are on the stage, so you want to bring your point across.
Very interesting, no? Natural evolution when you start off, because you've mentioned multiple times when you were in your mid-40s, you were that bored of your corporate job that you used to take different routes on your way back home. And then you tried your hand in multiple things. You tried DJing first, the teacher didn't show up.
Yeah.
Then you signed up for bartending, you didn't show up.
Correct.
And then ultimately you went for this open mic night, won the best open mic performer and hit the ground running. But you're saying the motivation you started with back then is very different from the motivations today for doing comedy.
Yeah, I would say the motivation is underlining for me is that whoever comes from my show should have a great laugh and go.
That is stuck through.
That is stuck through all. That has always been there. That is the underlying principle. I don't want to just talk about some social issues without any jokes. So, like if for example, I just mentioned to talk about the stray dogs, I will ensure that there are a lot of jokes in that where people laugh also.
Just message नहीं convey हो रहा है. Has
हाँ,
to
खाली
be
ऐसे आप मैसेज बोलोगे तो बोलेगा यार हम क्या कर रहे हैं, कॉमेडी सुनने क्या भाषण सुनने आए. It could be like that. But what has happened is actually abroad it has changed a lot. Like if you see some of the specials of some of the great comedians in America, Australia, in UK, there's like it's total you may get, if you just see the entire 1 hour special, there'll be some 4 or 5 big laughs. But it's a huge kind of a point of opinion which they are putting across. So it has changed. It has become a lot of storytelling. It has become for a cause. But in India, it's still little new. Comedy is just 14, 15 years old compared to these countries which I mentioned where it's been there for more than 80 years, 100 years. So it's even in India today, the comedy is very much, class A cities, maybe some few class B cities also, but otherwise it's not there throughout the rest of India.
Just making people laugh itself, I think, is a superpower. You often used to say ki when you were working and performing at shows, when you used to change out of your office clothes into your show clothes, you used to feel like Clark Kent. Right?
Yeah, like Clark Kent getting out of his office clothes, wearing a Superman costume.
I get it. Making people laugh is the superpower. Okay, मुझे एक comedy 101 masterclass करनी है. आज मैं आपका student बन के आया हूँ. आप teacher है. For the next hour, I just want to pick your brains on what makes a successful comic.
Yeah.
But before we even start that, I want to know if I have it in me. You've said in the past that most successful comics have some natural ability to see the funny side of things. So how important is this natural talent? How much weight does it hold? And if you're not born with it, can you just learn it?
Yeah, so you can learn something called as creative writing. So in a lot of courses, they teach you something called as creative writing, so where the teacher explains you how to expand your mind. If you take something like this water bottle, what are the, they'll tell you write 30, whatever you feel jokes about the water bottle. Or some points about the water bottle. This is a water bottle, make jokes about it, And then you keep on writing, keep all your thoughts about it. It's made of plastic, it's got a bottle, it's got a cover, it's for 5 rupees. You just keep on writing, writing. And then they tell you, okay, now see which are these topics which have got some fun elements to it you can talk about, And that may come about, like if you see, like, let me talk about this brand. This is Bisleri. Now, if you go from Bombay to Delhi, you'll find the same bottle everywhere. This Bisleri will become Busleri. It will become, Bisleri. It will just become Isleri. Those fake copies of it looks all the same. But you get all across the stations, you'll get fake copies of this. So some jokes may come out of there.
This can all be trained, right? But we are talking about natural talent, natural
So now
spark.
you do this, you write something. And then not as one part is the writing part, other part is performing. That is going up on stage, delivering it. Now, delivering is also, I would not say this is 50%, 50. It all depends from a style of a comedian. I know some comedians, like friends of mine, when they tell me a joke on paper, I say, kitna silly joke hai. But the way he does it on stage, the way he sells it, the way he uses actions to say that same joke, the way his emotion is all that. And you will say, oh my God, he just took it to a different level.
Is that natural or acquired?
That is more or less natural, but you can acquire it with a lot of practice.
So even if you're not born with that talent, you can train yourself.
Yeah. But having said that, you mentioned there's a thing over here called the Comedy Bible. So one of the first books I ever read about comedy was Judy Carter's Comedy Bible, which I always give a recommend. There's a second version also come out, volume. I have not read that, but the earlier volume which is there, which is I think there available on internet also nowadays. Which she mentioned that, how do you recognize a person? Are they inborn with it? Or, now, like when I think of it, in my group of family or friend circle, I was the guy who was slightly the funny guy in the group. You know, I wouldn't say I was the life of the party, but yes, I somehow changed the mood of the party when I come, make some jokes, some this, some that. Like I remember whenever I used to go with my wife, there are these couple kitty party hoti hai. Couples are there. So typically what happens when they come, all the guys are in one corner drinking near the bar, all the women are sitting on the couch.
Guys corner में पूरी politics
पूरी politics, पूरे WhatsApp forward, सब उसकी सब जो सुबह से शाम WhatsApp पर के सब अपना नॉलेज, तुझे क्या पता, मैं बताता हूँ.
पूरे गवर्नमेंट के सारे इश्यूज उस कॉर्नर में
या गवर्नमेंट के इश्यूज या शेयर मार्केट के इश्यूज या ये सब चलता रहता है.
सब एक्सपर्ट बैठे होते.
बट आई यूज्ड टू ऑलवेज सिट विद द वुमेन बिकॉज दैट्स वेयर द असली मसाला कम्स आउट. किसका अफेयर क्या चल रहा है, बॉलीवुड में क्या हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है. सो दैट्स वेयर द स्पाइसी पार्ट, दैट इज द बोरिंग पार्ट. सो आई यूज्ड टू ऑलवेज सिट विद द वुमेन जस्ट टू, बहुत वहां से मसाला निकलता था, and so yeah, when I look back at it, I was the funny guy in my family circle, always cracking jokes. I remember I used to make my mother laugh a lot with these silly jokes of mine. I was to in my friend circle also similar thing. So yes, I think there is some inborn trait where the same thing both of us are looking at. I'm looking at it more in a different way, in a funny way. And you'll say, oh my God, I never saw this angle at all.
So you have to have that element.
You have to have some element, but I always feel that with a lot of practice and work, you can sort of build it. It may take you a lot more time than somebody who's naturally born. Like musicians may be same hota hai na. Some people are just born with it. Like A.R. Rahman is considered to be a prodigy. At a young age, he started composing tunes and all. Some other composers are not like that. They would have learned under some composer, then trained. Then finally they would have started composing something.
I want to zoom into what actually makes someone funny or what makes a joke funny. You mentioned the Comedy Bible by Judy Carter. उसमें उन्होंने एक formula provide किया है for a structure of a joke which goes joke equals attitude plus topic plus premise plus act out plus mix plus act out again. First three, attitude, topic, premise, these are serious. And then your mix and act out are funny. So what does this mean? What is this formula? What are all these terms? And then hopefully with the help of an example, can you show how you can construct a joke using these?
So when I say attitude is the attitude you bring on stage. One is either so everybody has his own attitude.
Like positive, negative.
Not really that way, but in terms of how you are approaching the stage. Sometimes it's an act. You'll go, a comedian is like, struggling with the mic and things like that.
That's a persona?
It's an act he's doing. To make people show that he's scared of the stage and all, but that's an act by itself. Sometimes you see some acts and you might say, my God, they're brilliant. They sometimes come dressed as if there's an act they're doing, a character which they're playing.
Is it important to do that?
It can help you. You can do it. It helps a lot.
Like a persona on stage is different from who you are.
Absolutely.
Mitch Hedberg is one, but I don't know if he's like that.
Like Mitch Hedberg was a very different. Mitch Hedberg, since you're talking about people who are watching this, please do watch Mitch Hedberg. He was like, his jokes were supposed to be the most tightest written jokes. Like each and every word, there was no fat in it. There was no flab in it. Every word was, that's it. It requires 10 words to make a joke. There were 10 words. There was not a 11th word.
He's got a style, no? He wears glasses,
he
looks
down. Glasses, doesn't used to never look at the audience. Apparently, he was drugged most of the time. I think so. I think he died very young. Maybe of a drug overdose. I don't know. But he should not even look. He should look down, and just the jokes as such, just like each line, was brilliant. And he was like a one-liner comedian. There were no jokes. There was not a set. There was not talking about some stories. One line, but fantastic. Very, very crisp. So in Mitch Hedberg, one comedian in Japan did this entire study about Mitch Hedberg where they say, can I go and replicate the same Mitch Hedberg jokes? So he tried in Japan or somewhere. It's there on YouTube where he's doing Mitch Hedberg jokes. And it worked because the jokes were so well written. So that is one part of it. Now what happens in it with a joke like Mitch Hedberg? Anybody sort of can do it because the jokes are so well written,
मैं जाके पढ़ लूँ, it will kill.
Practice करो. Use some style. You just can't go paper में नहीं पढ़ोगे, but थोड़ा आप दिखाओगे तो, because there was one-liners. But for example, if I do some set, I talk about my daughters, I talk about my wife, I have lived through that experience which I talk about. That nobody can take away unless you have two daughters, my daughter's age. You can't copy those jokes. because you have not lived that experience which I have lived through. A frustration may come out. Like if I'll say I hate Bombay roads, so in that attitude comes. So I come with attitude, boss, I hate Bombay roads, and then I'll ask the audience, you like Mumbai roads? We hate it. And then my joke would be, my joke is, Mumbai roads are made up of 2 types of holes. That's the premise, And my joke is potholes and assholes. Okay, so that's the joke. So that's the punch. So potholes is the reality. You took it to assholes, which is talking about the other drivers on road. So if you look at the construction of the joke, there was an attitude I came with, an opinion I came. I hate, or you could say, I love traveling by air. And then you have jokes, you flip it or you go. So always some comedy starts with an opinion where you say you love something, you don't like something. It will come up. It comes up, Either you will not say it, but it will come up in your set. And then there's a premise that, Mumbai is made up of 2 types of holes. So that you have set it. Now the punch is coming, potholes and assholes. That's the joke which comes in.
इसमें कोई act out तो नहीं था.
Act out nahi, इसमें act out nahi. What act out means is when you are doing characters. Like you say, I spoke to my wife, My wife told me this. I did this. You'll say your wife's dialogues, Like my joke is like I told my wife I want to go to a boys trip. We want to go for boys trip. She'll say like, have you looked at your stomach recently? When you look down, can you see anything? Which means that my stomach is so this I can't see my privates. And then you may do an act out. You use your fingers, you may use your hands and things like that. But it's like you're acting out. You're creating a scene over there. You're making the people imagine that me and my wife in a room talking to each other. That's an act out.
Interesting, when you watch all of this, you don't think about the science behind it. You just,
just
watch a joke happen.
This comedy line is it's so brilliant. Like I have done one joke for 4-5 years. On the 6th year, same joke I'm doing. But I added a pause.
Yeah, became
and
applause
it just
break.
Changed the bloody... And I said for 5 years, why didn't I add the pause? And that pause didn't come normally. It came because of something. Like I remember I used to do this joke like, like I'm a Sindhi. Like we have hair coming out of our nose, we have a hair coming out of our ears, we have a hair coming out of our chest. Galti se while I was rehearsing, I said, and our chest coming out of our hair. Now, it's so funny. So you're flipping it. And then people are imagining big chest coming out of the hair. So so sometimes it happens by mistake. It's funny. A pause may happen, Something may happen. You may interact with the audience somewhere and something may come out of there. So there's a joke takes some time to develop.
Is there a way to find these pauses through instinct? Like, is there a way to find the rhythm of a joke when you're delivering it? Or this is brute
you
force?
Have your own rhythm. Typically, every comedian has his rhythm. Like, I tend to talk very fast. A lot of energy is there. I think I say by talking faster. If you hear me, I'm like bam, 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 bam going. Sometimes my wife keeps on complaining, just slow down, why are you in a hurry? But that's how I am. No, I can't change it. No, but I know, but if I go to Europe and perform, I will have to change it. Because by the time they understand my accent, my joke, they speak very slowly. They understand the construct of the statement, I tend to sometimes eat words. I do. I tend to eat words. Like my daughters also tell me, Papa, just go slow. You're eating your words sometimes. But it happens. Everybody has a style. Or there are some comedians who generally talk very slowly. That's their persona. That's their act. They talk so slowly. But everybody has their own style, their own voice. And you really cannot, pinpoint this. Like, honestly, I started reading this book, Comedy Bible, since you're talking about it, Judy Carter. I started reading it 8 months after I got into comedy. I asked a friend, he's saying, I'll read this book. It's not that I read this first, went into comedy. But I read it 8 months and I said, oh shit, I'm doing the same things. But I didn't realize it. Like one of the things which I read in the book was, like our best thoughts come in the middle of the night. When you get up to do susu. Like at 4 o'clock in the morning, you go to the bathroom, suddenly one joke will hit you. And you say, oh my God, this is so funny. I'll work on it in the morning. And you wake up in the morning and you've forgotten it. You're hitting yourself, oh, what was that? What was that? What was that? In the middle of the night, you got it. Or sometimes you're just driving, you see something in the thought. So most comedians earlier used to keep a small pen paper, which was there in Judy Carter's book. You keep a pen paper next to your bedside so you can make jokes.
You record at 3 a.m. if you
Nowadays you have this, but those are the days
yeah.
where there was no record. Now you record. Just put a small voice note and record it, or put a thought over there. This is what I thought about. It could just be a very simple premise, and you can just build on that then.
Let's explore this, because you once also got the chance to sit in Johnny Lever's car and you saw all these chits lying around.
Exactly. Same part.
Keep taking notes. Anytime you got a funny thought, observation,
you should
write
make
it down,
notes.
chit mein dal diya. And you also spoke about, let's say, just taking a Bisleri bottle and writing about it. So there are different schools of thought when it comes to writing, in not just comedy writing as well, just normal forms of writing. Some people say you should just sit and put in, let's say, 2 or 3 hours every day.
Yeah.
Write crap, but at the end of it, you might get something you can use. There are others who say, just go out there, live life, learn new things, travel the world, get experiences. That will give you the material.
Absolutely.
What is a better approach?
So I think a discipline to this is definitely better. That
Okay.
every day you write something.
Some routine you need.
Something you do. It could be anything. You're reading something. Obviously, you're consuming information. So maybe something from there. Like I know Veer Das, Saurabh Pant, they are like that kind. Where I know Veer and Saurabh personally, so they spend a lot of time in the morning just writing stuff.
Just like a workout.
Just like a workout, and hand pen, not on a laptop.
Acha.
That also is.
That makes a difference?
100% makes a difference. It's psychologically proven that when you write something, the coordination is much better, and also helps you keep sharper. Because all of us actually have forgotten writing. We're all either on typing or this and things. So when you're writing something, it does make a difference. So that is one thought, where phones are off. In fact, Veer, he had once put it up. He has a small word processing device, something to write, which is not connected to the computer, internet at all. It's something like a word processor, like a typewriter, but electronic typewriter. Because once you're on the net, something will happen. Russia invades Ukraine, and then you go into the rabbit hole, and then 3 hours go, you don't come to know. So for the discipline, it's very, very important.
Very interesting. Yeah. What about the premise? Because this is a constant challenge, even when you're writing, let's say, creative writing as well. How much of the world do you build? And especially when it comes to performing, how tight do you make the set? There was a class you took during the pandemic, which is hosted by Baman Irani, I think, who was talking about how you cut the premise and remove all the fluff. How do you decide what adds to the set and what can be removed?
So you should remove whatever. So if I say that I met Shalaj on a Tuesday, if you talk a set, I met Shalaj on Tuesday, no. Was it important to say Shalaj, or I met somebody? Okay, so you decide that. Why Tuesday? Are you going to refer to Tuesday later on? Or I could say I met a
Does
guy.
the day matter at all?
Does the day matter? The day may matter if there is something in the set about it.
It's like Chekhov's smoking gun thing. Like if there's a gun, you have to use it. Or something.
Yeah. So something like that, where you, it just makes, you have to see that is a part of, as I said, how Mitch Hedberg, there was no flab in his joke. Each word was weighed. Each alphabet, like every word in that sentence constructing was used. You just don't say it for the heck of it, So this is what I learned a lot from Boman Irani sir's class, which he runs, where, that everything which you're saying, either you have to talk about it, otherwise it's not required, remove it. And that actually happens. I've seen sometimes young comedians, when they're doing the open mic, their premises are so long. I went with my children to do shopping. We went to this mall and this. And I'm saying, okay, now where? But the joke is somewhere else. I said, what was the idea of you saying I went shopping with my children to this mall, where you did not talk about your children? Maybe you spoke a little bit about the mall. Maybe you went on a Sunday. I went with my husband. Why did you talk about husband if you didn't get him later on in the joke? So that's a part of, I think, an evolution of a comedian, where initially I'm sure even my premises are very, very long. Because you're writing, it's a thought, you feel that you should explain everything to the audience. But the audience sort of more or less understands it, Yeah. So what happens is that you decide where. Like suppose if I talk about, I talk about Juhu, which is more or less the Bollywood capital. Like if I talk in Bombay, that was, I went to, in Juhu, you see all Bollywood stars. You will understand, yeah, okay, possible. But if I'm doing the same joke in Netherlands, and there are foreigners sitting over there, I'll have to explain to them, it's like the Hollywood of India. It's an area where all the top Bollywood stars, you guys know Bollywood, right? Bollywood is the Indian film industry. So you set up all these things, so that they get to the joke. Maybe sometimes while explaining them, a joke comes out. Because today what has happened is, unfortunately, everything, if you don't hold on to the audience, if you lose the touch with them, like I look at it always, that when I'm on the stage, I have this thin thread connecting me with every audience. I have to see the thread very fine thread made of cotton, like a thin, and it should not break, because once it breaks, then you lost them.
You have a pulse on whether it's broken or not.
You can
You
get
can
it.
feel it.
Yeah,
You've lost the audience.
Sometimes you have lost the audience. And then you suddenly see everybody's lights have come on, their phones are up, they're checking their Instagram, they're checking their WhatsApp. So this is, today the phone really has become a very, very big deterrent, like a challenge for us, for comedians. Yeah. Because just imagine, just tell me, you're watching a show. Are you married?
No.
Okay. So suppose you're seeing somebody, you've come to my show to watch something, suddenly your girlfriend sends a message that, hey, I fell down from the stairs on WhatsApp, right? Now suddenly you have lost me. You are telling, hey, are you okay? No, it's okay. You want me to come there? No. Then you're thinking, and you say, shit, what will she say if I continue with a 1 hour show? And then you're thinking, do I really care? This, that. And you say, no, sure. Are you sure? This. Now for 20 minutes, and she said, no, dude, I'm okay. She'll maybe send you a photograph of herself, of a foot. No, it's okay. Just thought I fell down. I just thought I'll tell you. Or some car went over me, whatever. So now for 20 minutes, you lost me. Now to get you back again, it's very difficult. So earlier there were no phones. And this has happened not only in comedy, in every art form. Other than maybe music where it's so loud and all, you really don't care. But in a movie also, it's become such a distraction. You see sometimes a guy next to you continuously on the phone chatting something, and then you say, yaar, band kar, let me watch the movie. So, yeah, so I think this has become a very, very big challenge for us in terms of holding the audience. So I say there's a thread, I should see that the thread doesn't break.
Very interesting.
And now you just imagine that thread is with 600 people in the audience. Okay, and across sometimes different backgrounds, different age groups. Somebody is 18 who has come, there's a 50-year-old gentleman, there's a 60, somebody's got the 70-year-old dad also for the show. Now my material has to relate to everybody, more or less, across genre, across, age groups. Some people may not be comfortable in English, somebody could be very comfortable in English. There could be two foreigners sitting who's struggling with my accent. I have to more or less try my best to see that everybody has a good time. Now this is one thing. Now you take that same set today I've done in Bombay. Now I'm taking it to Dubai. Where it's again a different atmosphere, different country. Okay, Indians are there, Pakistanis are there, some foreigners are there. The same set I'm taking it to London now. So the jokes have to cut across so many barriers. You know what I'm saying?
Audiences have personalities. Let's say if you take Mumbai or Delhi, does the audience have a personality of its own that you have to change the set to match that energy?
No, not really. You really can't. You have to, sometimes when you do some jokes which are local, then for example, if in Bombay I talk about a place which is very, very crowded, so typically most comedians do that. Suppose they say, okay, in my joke, there's this area which is very crowded. So tell me in Bangalore, which is this one area which is always there's a traffic jam. So somebody in Bangalore says there's a traffic junction called Silk Board. I know. In Bangalore, there's this area called Silk Board. Must be some Silk Board office there. Uske wahan always there's traffic. In Bombay, you can say Sakinaka. It's the same thing. Maybe in Dubai you'll say Bar Dubai or some place or Meena Bazaar, all the traffic. So sometimes you have to talk to the local comedian, talk to somebody there. Hey, if I have to talk about a location where all the Indians stay, do just say Emirates Hill, people and all the rich Sindhis say Emirates Hills. Just to give an example.
You often take walking tours also of cities to get some nuggets that you can start putting in your
Which
set.
I always like to do, yeah. So especially when I go abroad, like when I take a walking tour and the tour guide tells you so much about the history and things like that, which you come to know. Like I remember I was doing a show in Auckland. Obviously all Indians, few foreigners also were there because my set is mainly in English. And while in the tour or something, they said there's an election happening. Next 15 days, there was an election in Auckland. And they have the same like a Republic Party, Democratic Party, and same thing. So I just went on and said, hey guys, I think there's an election. I said, whoever you vote, jitega to Modi. So people just lost it, And like all that, you do some fun and they also like it. Okay, you know a little bit about what's happening around. You don't know what's, kya ho raha hai, So now in the world, everywhere you go, America has become the butt of jokes. Everywhere. We just talk about, hey, Americans, where are the guns? People start laughing. Hey, how's Trump doing? People start laughing. So it's become like that now. So you have to be cued on what's happening in the world. You can't say, I don't read the newspaper, I don't know what's happening. Like you have to know there was an SEO summit yesterday where Modi ji went to to Russia or China, wherever they went. And there was this SEO summit where Putin was there, they were there, President of Pakistan, everybody was there. You have to know, and now with this Trump tariffs happening in India, India is warming up more with Russia. You should know a little bit about that. And when those jokes come out and sometimes the opportunity comes out, it just takes it to a different level altogether.
Fascinating how you adjust your set based on the audience. You had shared a story once. I think you were performing in Agra, and this was supposed to be the first stand-up comedy show. So you thought deeply about what type of jokes you want to do, because this is going to be the first exposure to stand-up comedy that the
I don't
crowd's
want
gonna
them to get scared away of comedy.
Yeah, you can't start with dark jokes, right? Because then it might turn them off.
You don't want to start dark jokes. You don't want to get too many bad words and things like that. So then they will say, "Oh my God, this is a comedy."
हमको नहीं गाना. हास्य कवि में सम्मिलन
हास्य
नहीं
कवि अच्छे है, कपिल शर्मा अच्छा टीवी पे, हमको ये सब नहीं अच्छा नहीं है.
Right, so you have to think about all of those things.
And like we do a lot of corporate shows. I tend to do a lot of corporate shows, private shows. They also have to be very careful about, corporate shows are very clear. They pay you good money and they have strict dictates. You can't say this, you can't say that. No, I know you decide as a comedian, you want to play that, you will tread that line and you'll say, no, I'm a comedian, I'll say what I want. And then you stop getting corporate shows. And you stop playing those shows at all.
What role do open mics play? Do you think they will always be a critical part of the process? No matter how big you get, you have to keep going to open mics to refine the set? Or do you think as you become bigger, you build an intuition so you don't have to keep going to open mics?
No. So as you become bigger, what happens? You have the luxury of doing a lot of shows. So you can test some jokes within
the show.
Within the show. Like most of us who do a lot of shows, we test our jokes rather than going to an open mic. I personally go to a lot of open mics because I live in Juhu. There are some good rooms in and around the area, and Bandra, Juhu, very convenient. And sometimes you just go to hear what other comedians are saying. And you can tell if a fellow comedian is there, you can say, listen, I'm trying this new set. You don't mind, just sit in the audience, tell me, give me some tags.
Feedback.
Give me some feedback how it is.
Tags.
Tags is like tags or feedback, you could say. Tags are like some further jokes I can add to it.
Oh, acha.
And sometimes you get some great advice. And it's not only from seasoned comedians, even from younger comedians. You may just say, so why don't you try? And I kept, when I go up and see comedians, I say, boss, I'm doing this for the first time, second time. Just if you don't mind, just hear it. If you want to give me some more tags or some feedback on the joke, just give it to me. They're very important. And then you sort of build from there. You say, oh my God, I never thought of this angle at all. Like I remember this one joke I was doing. I didn't do it, but it was a premise I was working out. And I did it once, so it was not working with the audience. And then because I was doing the joke on my wife. And one comedian told me, listen, you're unnecessarily trolling your wife on this. Why? Take the joke on yourself. Now shift the joke on yourself. And I just did that, started working better.
Yeah. It's about the instructor, the yoga instructor.
Something like that, So it's basically, yeah. So it's you never know from where you could get input. Sometimes the audience gives you inputs. And the best part about stand-up comedy is such a democratic process. If you're funny, people laugh. If you're not, they don't laugh.
Immediate feedback loop.
Immediately, your own parents are sitting, your children are sitting, your wife is sitting. If you're not funny, they will not laugh. They'll not just laugh because they know somebody on stage. Yeah. They'll laugh if you're funny.
How much time goes into constructing a special? Let's say there's a 5-minute set. How much time and effort has gone in constructing just those 5 minutes of material?
It could take 5 minutes. If you're lucky, it can take like 15 to 20 days to a month. Tight 5 minutes. That's why if you see, if you take a month, 5 minutes into year is like 60 minutes. Correct?
So a special would take a year minimum.
Year and a half. So you write it, you keep on working on it, you keep on trying. Sometimes the joke may change. So something politically outside has happened which has changed the joke. And for example, you spoke about COVID. Suddenly COVID went away. Then you throw the joke away. So it all depends. You're traveling with the show. You're doing that show again and again. That one pause which you never realized suddenly came. So it may take 1.5 years for you. That's typically most comedians do that. They take around a year or so to write a special, to workshop it. And then you give it a name, you give it a poster, then you go out and you start doing it, properly. And and then you sort of take it everywhere. And then the end of it, you release it on YouTube or on Netflix or Amazon, whoever wants to buy it or things like that.
Interesting, right? The life cycle of a special, because when you watch it, sometimes it just feels like if they're very good, it just feels like unne aake joke suna diye.
Yeah.
But the work that goes into it is
absolutely
massive.
Yeah.
What about the financial aspects? So you met Veerdas at an airport once. He gave you advice. He said, never sell yourself short. Always set a baseline. How do you decide what's your baseline?
You try to push it as much as possible. Like what has happened after the pandemic, if you see overall prices everything has increased by 40%. Your restaurant, what you used to eat, your favorite restaurant, 2020 and now 2025, it's 40% increase. Prices have gone up everywhere. You can't still keep your same prices of your tickets. So prices of tickets also have to change because your input costs have all gone up, And
what are the different input costs for a comedian if you're hosting a show?
Hiring the auditorium. Auditorium have 40% higher now. Or auditorium, after the pandemic, you're not getting auditoriums.
Let's break it down. Let's say an average venue, how much would it cost to rent it?
It all depends what size you're looking at. But just to give you NMAC Grand Theatre, 35 lakhs.
One night.
Half a night, one night. Yeah, one day. Yeah. That's the cost of the Grand Theatre. But then you keep the Grand Theatre also, then you'll have to keep your minimum ticket prices as 2,000, 3,000, your highest at 10,000, 12,000 rupees. Now you have to have that capability to sell that place also. To take a hire kar diya, then you have to fill it up with 2,000-3,000 people.
It also affects the type of audience that shows up, right? Suddenly
Absolutely.
There's a class.
That class, I would say class or audience type anyway happens because of a show. It's like there are some comedians who are young, who very attract. Like when Zakir started out, Zakir Khan, he used to come, I think it was called Sakt Londa. Which was like so it was all like, and I remember that time Zakir's manager told me like Zakir tickets are like one ticket gets. All single guys, full engineering college comes, buys one ticket and they come, But now over the time, he has also changed, evolved. Now his talks, now there are couples coming. The same people who used to watch him now have got married. They're coming with their wives.
His audience is evolving with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So now couples are coming, families are coming, he does clean comedy, people are getting the parents also. So it is like that. It changes. Like, so it depends from comedian to comedian,
So renting was 35 lakhs. What are the costs involved?
Oh, there's a cost of stage. There's a cost of sometimes the lights, the sound. It may come with the auditorium. I mean, I'm talking about 35 lakhs is the most expensive auditorium. But I think typically an auditorium, like a good auditorium, like 400-500 seater capacity must be around 1.5 lakh, 2 lakhs. Okay, like in a Bandra area, I'm assuming. Then you add lights, you add good quality sound. Then you will have to market the show. List it on Book My Show. You will have to promote the show. How do you come to know I'm performing? I have to advertise the show on social media. Okay. And then you'll have to hire security, ushers. Sometimes all these things are added on cost.
कितना percentage आ रहा है इन सब में?
ऐसे मुझे याद तो नहीं है because typically what happens is that I don't produce, like you have producers who do it, so I really don't know the cost which goes behind, But I would suggest that if you're paying around $1,000 to come and watch me, at the end of it I get around tax fax kaat ke I must be getting $300 or $400. Yeah, I get after sab nikal ke. Tax nikalo, ye nikalo, sabke commissions, and the promoter's working and he takes a commission. There's a gate split which happens. He will take a commission.
Less than 50 also.
Less than 50 also.
Yeah, you come from a world of IT. वहाँ तो इतनी मारामारी होती थी कि 20 रुपए के मार्जिन पे भी लोग कंप्यूटर बेच रहे हैं, 1000 रुपए भी. Yeah, so I guess you are not that phased by this. This seems better. But to me, it's interesting because on your name and your comedy, like the seats are being filled, but the amount that actually comes to the pocket of the comedian is even less than 50, like 30 or 40.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like, what happens when your family members, friends come and say, oh, 1,000 log, 2,000 के ticket, मतलब आज तो 20 लाख घर लेके गया. अरे चलो ऑडिटोरियम का कॉस्ट ही 4 लाख है, इडियट. मतलब हाथ में तुमको क्या आएगा, बाद में बुक माई शो कमीशन आएंगे, टिकट की वो होता है. I've spent my ads, there's a whole team of 15-20 people working at a 1,000-seater auditorium. Your team, they give them dinner at the end of it, there's snacks at the end of it. And ushers are there, you have to pay them. Security, there's this, that, licenses you have to take. There are, if you any auditorium show you have to take license, you have to take police permission. There's a cost for that. You have to take a census certificate for your thing. Yeah, all these things are there. Even you're from Dubai, right?
Yeah.
Even in Dubai, you have to take a certificate. For a big show, there's a censor certificate you have to take. And all this, you have to take a DTCM permission, just to give you an example. You just can't, nobody can go up on stage in Dubai and do whatever they want. You have to take a permission, you have to give a copy of a script. All these things are there. And it happens all over the world. It's not only in Dubai or India. It happens in Singapore. It happens everywhere.
What about the evolution of the stand-up scene? You said it's very new in India. And you've been there.
15 years, yeah.
Yeah, and you've been there for a while now. So in a way, you've tracked the evolution of it. You're also part of a comedy troupe. How has comedy evolved in India? What is the, could you summarize what it looked like before and how it's changed over time? What's
So
it been
first
like?
of all, earlier when we started, it was very, very urban. Bombay, Bangalore, Delhi, maybe Pune. That's it. Little bit in Calcutta, a little bit in Chennai, but Hyderabad, very little. So these three cities, very urban, it was an imported product from the West. The people also who first got comedy to India were guys like Veer Das, Papa CJ, Karan Talwar. They were all of them studied abroad, in the US or UK. They saw it over there. They did some shows over there. They understood that game. They got it here back to India. They moved to India, say, hey, let me introduce this to India. Basically, that's how it started here. Then in India, there was a comedy store which came out. So the comedy store was the first comedy club ever. A comedy store from London. It's still there in Piccadilly Circus in London. The comedy store, very, very old and established comedy club. So it must be 80-year-old comedy club. And so they came up, they started in India in 2010, 2011. They came up with in one of the best malls in Mumbai. That time people didn't know what is it. Comedy store ka matlab kya? People used to think that you get funny hats and costumes and
Prank store, yeah.
Prank store, like a prank store. Yeah, they used to think it was that. Actually, people used to think, kya hai kya? नहीं लोग आके आपको हंसाते कैसे क्यों? Like it was like that. Then used to say, अरे जैसे आपको जॉनी लीवर हंसाते हैं, राजू श्रीवास्तव हंसाते हैं, ऐसे इंग्लिश में आपको हंसाते हैं. So initially, it started with that. It was very, very urban. Then initially, just to let you know, in Comedy Store, there were no comics in India. So they used to actually import comedians. So comedians used to come from UK, Australia, visiting comedians used to come here. They used to do shows on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And they used to go away. They used to fly back on Monday. Okay. And because there were no comedy, there was no sleep. So you see what happened? The comedy scene in India started building. Again, it was English. Dhire, 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 that English, that thing broke and it became Hindi. So, and Hindi just took it to a very different level. In terms of suddenly in a country like India where Hindi is so popular, just took it to a different level. And now what is happening is, not now, last few years, you have comedians in Tamil, comedians in Marathi, in Gujarati, in Sindhi, in Telugu, in Malayalam. What you name the language, it is there now.
Does the language change anything apart from access to audience? अगर आप कुछ joke हिंदी में कर रहे हैं versus English, does it change the comedy itself?
The words sometimes in Hindi are so powerful, so funny. A word like chichora in Hindi is so funny. See, you just give a smirk as is a word, chichora. You just laugh.
It evokes an emotion.
Yeah, sometimes it's just our languages are so powerful. I don't know many other languages. Like in Marathi, I love this word called tras. Mala tras nako diya. Tras is nothing but don't give me stress. But that it's a very frustrating word. Like it's like a tras is not even just stress. It's like a very frustrating stress. Mala tras nako diya. So it's like that. So that word tras is beautiful. I just love that word. Sindhi has got some words like that. So like that. So once our vocabulary is so powerful of our languages that, it's not a surprise that all these exponentially they have there's these friends of mine from Gujarat, they do comedy, the Comedy Factory is a collective. And they recently sold like a 2,000-seater in New Jersey. Only Gujarati comedy. Okay. It's like the Grand Theatre of New Jersey, that 4-store had the best room over there. They sold it out. Okay. Like Zakir just sold out MSG, Madison Square Garden, So I'm just trying to tell you is that this would have not happened with English. Hindi has taken it to, now like people like Zakir, some of the Hindi comedians have taken comedy to a place like Ajmer. They do comedy shows. As English comedians, we can't even think of those places. Ajmer, Raipur, still they are much bigger cities, small cities. Like there's comedy happening now in Jamnagar, in Rajkot, in Valsad, because one thing good we have in India, population. 300, 400 people will come as long as you supply their need. they will come. As long as they know that you are there, they know about you, they know you're going to come make laugh. तो पैसा भी है लोगों के पास, you know. They will, smaller places, they can afford a 500 rupee, 1000 rupee ticket to come and watch you.
Earlier, there used to be a lot of comedy troupes, a lot of comedy groups, collectives, and you were part of one. And amicably, you went your own way as well. So what happens? Is this like a rock band curse that often you see many groups and then later everyone goes their own way? What happens with comedy as well?
That was the initial part where the comedy scene was very, very new. This was 2013, 14, where it was still new. I think EIC got formed in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. It was still very, very new. So we just thought working together, we'll do projects together and things like that. And it worked also. AIB worked, we worked, SNG worked.
TVF,
TVF, right?
TVF, yeah.
The Viral Factory, yeah. So they were, all of us worked. Then slowly, I think what happened is each of the became stars by themselves. The comedy market was going strong. Like in EIC, the problem which we face is that we were 7 of us. If all of us should do together show, you know, first of all, everybody, like if I'm getting tomorrow my own private show somewhere in Bombay, but now with EIC, I have to go to Bangalore. So first of all, what happens in a troupe of 7 people, you don't make too much money. Because whatever that collection is divided by 7. And then you imagine that same 30-40% not further divided by 7.
I'm not paying 7 times the price if I'm seeing
exactly
the group.
Yeah. So that's what happens. So and then you take a call, and what happens was that everybody was in a different stage of life. I was married with 2 children, growing up children. My needs were different. Saurabh Pant, his needs were different. A comedian, young comedian like Sahil, his needs are totally different. He's saying, I don't care. I want to go on stage. Let's have fun. I'll say, no, boss, I need to have fun. I need money also. I have the bills to pay. I have my kids' college fees to pay. So everybody had different stages in life, you know. Yeah, so I think as long as everybody sort of, like at AIB, they sort of worked longer because all of them were similar ages. All of them unmarried, all of them similar ages, same focus kind of thing was there. And I think everybody has its time sort of thing, you know. I mean, that it was that time thing of collective. Maybe it may come back again. Maybe a collective may come back again.
Learning a lot as your student today, I must say. Have to start wrapping up. Before we go into the closing questions, I would love it if you tell me, ये क्या masterpieces बनाए मैंने ego के साथ? What do you think these are?
You thought through this or you're just making something?
आप बताओ.
I think you're just making something. You're just putting pieces. This looks like a building. There's definitely a roof. This is a part of a collapsed bridge in Bihar somewhere. I am assuming, yeah.
Would you be shocked if I tell you that's exactly what I was thinking now? Collapsed bridge in Bihar and a building. You nailed it perfectly. Closing questions. What are some books, movies, role models that have strongly inspired you in your life?
Books. I was a big fan at one time of this author called Michael Crichton, I don't know how you pronounce it. He passed away. He used to write thriller books. I used to love him and I used to just read. I've read all his books. And then after he passed away very young, so after that I sort of I felt very bad anyway. But those were that one book series I read. I've read all the other classics earlier on in my life. Now I don't read much, to be very honest with you. In terms of comedy, a lot of people inspire me. Like Veer Das inspires me. All my friends at EIC, I get highly inspired by them. You know, and I know how difficult it is to do comedy. Extremely difficult to hold a crowd, get people in, you know. So what happens is that anybody who can do it, I have great respect for them. And in terms of movies, I was always a very, very big fan of funny movies. So my favorite for the Airplane series, the Naked Gun series. Stupid, like, you know, something about Mary, which sort of borders as stupidity.
Yeah, silly.
But silly, funny, and, you know, you just go and laugh. Like I can watch, like just today, just before lunch, I was watching Bombay to Goa. Maybe I was watching it for the 300th time. Yeah. But every joke, every time hits, you know the joke, you know when it's going to come, but still you laugh. You know, the way they delivered. Mehmood, Kishore Kumar, all these guys are there in that, you know, Amitabh Bachchan and all these guys. It's so funny, you know. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of comedy per se. You know, tell me a comedy series or comedy movie or a series, I'll definitely go for the comedy part of it.
Who's the greatest comedian of all time and why?
I don't think there's one person who's the greatest comedian of all
10
time.
बोल दीजिए.
हाँ?
फिर 10 बोल दीजिए.
5 तो बोल सकता हूँ.
5 बोल दीजिए.
Like in India, like I generally like Veer because of the sheer hard work he puts in the craft. Sheer hard work. he's like constantly inspiring all of us. He has a special come out, but then he's already working on some 2 specials, a movie coming out, this coming out, book coming out. Because I don't like continuously, like sometimes it scares you. My God, at work, I work so hard. हम तो कुछ कर ही नहीं रहे. Then I like Ricky Gervais a lot. I like Bill Burr. I like Dave Chappelle. Was a big fan of obviously George Cullen, who was the OG. And right now I just went to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. I saw a lot of new acts over there, brilliant, And I just feel that, it's just you sometimes just go as an observer and watch all this, and it helps you somewhere internally to push yourself to, do better, write better. Because you feel with every new special, you should push your limits, write something, take it to a further extent, in terms of your writing, in terms of your thoughts.
Should be growing.
It should be growing. Yeah.
What would you like your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
A guy who made you laugh, I would say intelligently, and somebody who's reliable. If you come from my show, you will get your money's worth. It will not be like a hit or a miss.
Both of career, so you already met that legacy.
No, but still, it's still a long way. Yeah.
Achha, work in progress. Well, I'm excited to see what's coming. Final question: what is the meaning of life, Atul Khatri?
Meaning of life is to live through it. I would say honestly, have good fun, enjoy your life as much as you can. Life is difficult, life is tough. It will have its definitely ups and downs. I'm 57 years old. I've seen those ups and downs happening. So, but if there's a down, there has to be an up also. And there's an up, there may be a down also. So you have to be prepared for it. It's a long haul. I would say my best thing is like my mantra always is, work hard and party hard. You should enjoy also and work hard also. When there's time to work. Time to party, you party.
Meaning of life is work hard, party hard. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This will definitely resonate with a lot of people. Atul, if people wish to connect with you, find out more about you, stay up to date about your next shows, what is the best way to find you, connect with you?
So go to my website, atulkhatri.com. There's a schedule that I have shows. Just to let people know, like I have shows, I don't know when this podcast will come out, but I have shows in Dubai on 26th of September. I have a show in Muscat, in Bahrain, some shows here, and I have a show in Hyderabad next week. I have this new show called Well Trained, which has come out, since which I'm touring it in the last 4-5 months. Now I'm going to take it to the US, I'm going to take it to Europe, I'll be taking it to Australia in 2026. So if you come and watch me. Yeah, nothing like a nice, like a live stand-up show. A lot of people feel that they watch comedy on YouTube, on Instagram and all that. Said no, when you come live, it's a totally different experience. And yeah, come and feel it. It's like, if you go to a movie may be okay, it be good or not good. But a good curated comedy show, paisa vasool, 100%.
Paisa vasool. Everyone can do with some laughter in life. So definitely come and watch. Atul, thank you so much. This has been a privilege for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Wish you all the best.